Hello, it's Uncommon Fossil. Today, I want to talk about a Toxicroak EX deck. I've been working on this a fair amount over the last week or two, on and off, and it's gotten to an okay state, is what I'd say. If you have suggestions to make it better, I would appreciate it because I do like this, and I would like to see it get better. But you can win games with it, and that's a nice thing. Not quite at the win rate I'd like, but it's okay. So Toxicroak EX, Stage 1, 250 HP. 250 is a little low. That's a downside. It's dark type, which isn't a bad weakness to hit for, right? You got Mew, you got Gardevoir EX, so some dark decks that are dark weak that it takes advantage of. But really, it's hitting with Toxic Ripper, 120 damage. It's a dark, colorless color, so you a lot of times you have a DTE, so dropping that damage, but that down to 100. But either way, you do the damage, and then your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, and during checkup, you put 6 damage counters on it instead of 1. So between the initial damage and those poison counters at 6 between each turn adds up quickly. You put a lot of pressure on your opponent where they're having to do extra switching in order to avoid those knockouts. So you're putting pressure on your opponents. They have to use more resources, either play switch cards at a faster pace than they want to, or hard retreat some, tossing away energies, which then sets back their board state. As you'd expect, so we're playing a 3-4 line, 3 of the EXs. Oh, it does have nasty plot. You utilize that some, but only in the case of emergency type situation. In case of emergency, break glass and use nasty plot. 1 dark energy, search your deck for 2 cards, put them into hand. So that's nice here, but not, but this isn't the type of deck that's built around that, is what I'll say. And then 4 Toxicroak, basic, 80 HP. Now, obviously, 80 HP is not bad for a basic these days. And then we play Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, which you'd expect. We can attack with it if we want, but we don't really want to. It's here for Poison Peak ability during Pokemon Checkup. Put 2 more damage counters on your opponent's Poison Pokemon. So really wants to go together here. And so now putting 8 damage counters between each turn. And so that really does do a nice job with it. I would say, if you attack for 120, then you put 80 damage counters on it. So now you're doing 200 damage in total before your opponent takes their next turn. What else do we have here? We're playing a 3-2 line of the Muk. This is Muk with the Street Sludge ability that the retreat cost of your opponent's poison Pokemon is 1 colorless energy more. Again, your opponent needs to do some switching to avoid knockouts during the game. Makes it harder to switch you. They can't afford the retreat cost, or they're having to discard even an extra energy, sets them back even more, just trying to part win by doing damage, but also win by making life difficult for opponents. And then we do have an alternate attacker that can be good, because this does bigger damage than anything else. Galarian Moltres V, the Aura Burn, or the Aura Burn attack does 190 for dark colorless, and it does 30 damage to itself. So 220 HP, but it takes it down to 190 after you attack. So again, low HP, but 190 is a decent number. And then Dire Flame Wing, keep wanting to say these things wrong. During a turn, you may attach a dark energy from the discard pile to this Pokemon. You can only do it once per turn. So it powers itself up potentially, so you can just put it on the bench, have it accelerate energy turn after turn till it's ready to attack, and then boom, you got a big attacker. And then I put Squawkabilly EX in the deck. It just needs some help to get going, so I think Squawkabilly is necessary to help set up. 160 HP, it's a 2-prize liability on the bench, but Squawk and Seize, once during your turn, on your first turn only, you can discard your hand and draw 6. So just good for setting up there. And you can attack with it. Sometimes it motivates the right play. It does 20 damage for 1 energy. And you attach 2 basic energies from the discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So if you can't do anything else, it does help set up the next turn. Not what you want to do, because you have your opponent's probably taking 2 prizes the next turn, but maybe that's a play that you need to do. So just keep it in mind, is what I'd say. Energies here, 12 energies, which is kind of a pretty standard amount to me for a lot of decks. 4 DTEs, because the DTE does help pay for half the attack cost of the Toxicroak, and then 8 basic dark energy, because we need the dark energies, and we can accelerate from the discard pile with the Moltres V, and as you'll see and probably not be surprised by, with Dark Patch. Right, Dark Patch, I'll hit to that first in the trainers then. You can attach a basic dark energy, or darkness energy, I guess is what it actually is. I should need to try to be correct there, from the discard pile to one of your bench dark type Pokemon. So and they all are that except for the Squawkabilly. So you can accelerate your energy to your Moltres V if you need to, or generally you accelerating it to your Toxicroak EX. So quite nice there. We have 4 Ultra Ball, get those evolution Pokemon into our hand, into play, and also can discard some energies with it, right? You discard 2 cards, search your deck for a Pokemon. So just a really strong card. Anyway, 2 switch cards. No, we don't play rope, obviously, because we're poisoning our opponent's Pokemon. We don't want to help them get out of the active, so we just play switch with this deck. 4 trekking shoes. I think just trying to draw through the deck, trying to make it a little bit more consistent because it doesn't have an engine, right? That's where things are a little risky, but I think I've got a decent list here with the supporters. Trekking shoes, Pokégear, we'll get to shortly, right? You look at the top card of your deck with trekking shoes, you can put it into hand or discard it, so it shortens your deck by a card, which means you're going to get to the cards you want quicker, and you can get an energy into the discard pile potentially, so that's a plus. Or if it's a card you know you don't want, you can chuck it. So you see 1 to 2 extra cards each turn, useful there. 4 Ionos. Just a really good draw card early game. You discard, you shuffle your hand, bottom of the deck, see 6 cards. Your opponent does the same thing. And then late game, when your opponent is down to 1 or 2 prizes, put them to a small hand size. Very useful early game and late game. 1 Klara. It needs some Pokemon recovery, either Klara or Super Rod. I've gone with Klara. I think this is the better play. But maybe Rod is the way to go. You can kind of evaluate that for yourself. You have a choice, put up to 2 Pokemon from the discard pile into your hand, and or put up to 2 basic energies from the discard pile into your hand. So can really help set up. You can get back your Radiant Hisuian Sneasler. Is that the right name? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Sorry. So you can get him back in play because a lot of times that 20 damage matters, or you can get your EX back into play to evolve it, and you can grab an energy if you want to play it down if you need. So it certainly comes in useful in the deck. I like it. Pokégear 3.0, playing 3 copies of it. Look at the top 7 cards of your hand, reveal a supporter card, put it into hand, shuffle the rest back into your deck. So since we don't have an engine, we have a decent amount of supporters that will draw us cards. Iono and research mainly. And Klara, of course, does get us some cards in hand, and we'll play boss also for late game, so just increases the odds of hitting a supporter, makes the deck, I think, consistent enough for it to function, in my opinion. 4 Nest Ball, right, put a basic onto the bench. We don't have engine Pokemon, I'll just say, and I don't think we can afford it with deck space or bench space, right? I do like having the Muks down. You need at least another Toxicroak. You may have your Squawkabilly. You need your Radiant Pokemon down. I'm not sure what the engine piece is that would really suit this deck. Like something like the barrel, I don't think I want here because it draws cards. It's good late game when you get Iono'd, which is annoying, and it is great against that. But early game, you don't have small hand size, and I don't think I can play a Squawkabilly. I mean, I can't play the barrel and Skwovet, right? Skwovet's the one which you'd go to a one card hand, but I can't give up 2 bench spots for an engine. So I've gone with none, no engine, good or bad. If you have suggestions, do let me know. 4 research, obviously, just sets up early. You gotta dig early in the game. So 4 research, I think, is a must. And then 3 bosses order. Your opponent, because you're poisoning, they're retreating away a lot. They end up with damaged Pokemon on the bench, and at some point in the game, you need to gust that up, boom, knock it out to finish it off. So I think 3 bosses is a must in this deck. I wouldn't go to 2. I think you have to have 3. A PAL pad just to get back some of these supporters wouldn't be bad. But what to cut's tricky. I've really worked and refined this list a fair amount at this point, and I think it's a pretty solid list. It's not a top tier deck, but it does work, and it is a lot of fun to play. So let's see what we can do with the deck now. All right, so see what happens here. Will I be first or second? Opponent's calling the coin toss. They have the Pikachu coin. Very nice. Coins floating. Hopefully things start happening, right? Things are being a bit... A bunch of not much happening, I think it's fair to say, right? All right, let's move things along here. because you know, nobody's time is being well served waiting for you to call the call. All right, so I get to go first. So good. Hopefully things speed up gameplay wise, and hopefully the deck works because it's still a sketchy deck. All right, Squawkabilly Grimer. I'm going first. I might end up using Squawkabilly's attack. I don't know. I'm giving up to an extra prize probably with Squawkabilly. Squawkabilly after this turn has no benefit though, right? I obviously would have liked a Toxicroak. Okay, well that's not bad. So let's see what happens. Dark Patch. That's unfortunate because I can't utilize that because I'd have no. All right, well, okay. So Croagunk. There, should I attach an energy? I think I will. I would have rather attached DTE. Maybe that's a mistake. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. And I will Dark Patch. So he's ready to attack with one more energy, toss down another Croagunk, and a very solid hand. I like that, you know. This is a hand that can make things happen for sure. Yeah, a nice hand. A good turn one is what I say. You know, I can Iono for 6 fresh cards. I can evolve Croagunk into Toxicroak. I can switch into out of the Squawkabilly. You know, they're probably going to take out my Squawkabilly. That's probably what happens. He's weak to lightning too. All they need to do is 80 damage. 80 base. So magnetic tension does not knock me out. So Zeraora knocks me out. I mean, that 80 on Zeraora one-shots my Squawk, but that's quite nice, right? I could grab back the Muk and stuff. I could do that. Do I want to do that? Let me think here. 30 damage to 2. I think I want to, let's see, what do I have? I have an energy and a Muk, right? So I might just want to Klara here. I'm going to take the guaranteed attack, right? I'll grab both of these. I kind of like this. Increase the retreat cost. I saved the Iono. I know it wouldn't have been bad, of course. 120. They're poisoned, so now the retreat cost is 3. And if they don't get out of the active, they're knocked out. They can evolve out of it, right? I don't play the Muk that illuminates that evolving stops it, right? I believe they're, but we'll see what happens here. So not a terrible start. Okay, that's nice. So they passed, and this is nice. You see that's a really nice situation when they get knocked out coming into my turn. And actually, I stopped them from promoting a card. So I have another prize card I will take here, which is super. Bench you for sure. Attach a DTE, get my next Croagunk set up. They don't have a lot going on, but I need to evolve my board state. So let's see what happens here. All right, Toxicroak. This is okay. This is actually pretty good. Obviously, in one sense, I would rather not attack with this Toxicroak, but I'd rather attack with the bent Toxicroak because he gets the knockout as well, not through damage, but through the poison. So up by 3 prizes. So here, the deck is really rolling this game. We'll see what happens. It's still right. They can start one-shotting me. Now, the fact that I'm an EX and not a V, Miraidon does 220. And they can't attack. They can retreat, but they have to. They're okay. So they don't one-shot me with any of their attackers. That's really nice here. Really nice. Now they can't stream attacks with the Miraidon, so they want to retreat anyway. So they have some more switching opportunities than some decks do. So that's going to make the poison a little bit harder. So they're looking to attack which is fine. Now I could gust up. All right, they're gusting me up. Taking 2 prizes, which that's okay. Let's see. He does 120. So I knock them out with. I actually do one-shot them here, right? In effect, right? With the Toxicroak, right? I need the guy that's with all the energy on him. So 440, they blow away. They take 2 prizes, but I'm gonna send up Toxicroak that does 120, and then I do 60 and 20 more, right? If I'm doing the math right, I will quote one-shot this Raikou. I hit, between the poison and the attack before they draw for turn, they're knocked out. So that's working. So it's working here. It's working here. I'm down to 1 prize at that point. I have a boss in hand. What should I do here? I should play my energy here for sure. I can't Dark Patch. That's odd. All right, so I want to have another Croagunk. So let me get Grimer down so I could evolve him potentially. Right, because at this point the retreat cost is increased, 120, and then 80, and you're out of there. So wow, that's really nice to see. So if I don't get disrupted with my hand, I have game in hand. Obviously, look, they're going to play. They can't win this turn. I'm pretty sure they'd have to. I can't take out my 2 EXs in one attack. And hopefully they don't disrupt my hand. That's really what I want to see happen, is not disrupt. Now, they got the Raikou down. The Raikou is the one, the Raichu, sorry, the Raichu, who he's the one that does big damage. I assume they have energy in hand to attack. They don't knock me out at this point. So, look, if they Iono me, I'm down to 1 card, and I draw my 1 card. So I'm very unhappy about that. I'm in a tough spot, So they're Iono me down to 1. That's what's not good. I obviously this boss goes to the bottom of the deck. Let's see what I top deck. Nest Ball. So because I have DTE, I'm 20 damage short of the win. And so now I'm in a lot of trouble. So now, okay, so now, all right, I could send up something else too. I could, maybe I send up my other Grimer, and he can poison them, and that poison may help me too, right? If I get an energy. So they don't get the knockout though, so that's really nice. Really, do I want to evolve this Toxicroak? Probably. I do want. I think I need to attack here. I should evolve. There's not a reason. I don't think there's a reason not to evolve here. I could hard retreat, but I think that's not the play. Right? So if they want to retreat, the retreat cost is now 2. Which is nice also. So, and if they don't retreat, they lose the game. So they're gonna have to get him out of the active because he's knocked out. If they doesn't, right? So he's hard. So they're hard retreating. Now they can accelerate those 2 energies, and I do miss the knockout. So it's a bit awkward. I'm going to have to send up the Grimer, look to poison my opponent's Pokemon. Now he's going to have to discard this energy. So that's the good news for me. And to get the knockout. Now they just have to discard like 1, right? So, okay. I'm not sure about attaching the Miraidon. They run attack with Raichu again. So they're Ioning me again to 1. I didn't have a great card though. So that's, I'm probably better off with that. Pokégear is a plus. So Pokégear. Okay, so that makes it more interesting for me, right? Have I discarded any bosses? I play 3 bosses. So one of the bosses is near the bottom, right, from the last Iono. So probably the best chance to win, there's 2 more bosses in the deck. Somewhere, if one of those bosses is in... Okay, so, wow, all right, well, I'm going to send up Muk then. That's your play? That's your play? Okay. That surprises me, right? That really does surprise me. Because they don't win with that. So, and they don't win next turn now. Now they need boss next turn. So 220, I think I'm going to send up the damaged guy because he, they don't win when he gets knocked out, and he does more damage this turn. So boss wins me game. I have multiple outs to game here. So Ultra Ball. All right, well, Pokégear, and that's what I need. And I look that I'm a bit lucky there, but also, hey, I really was in the position of the odds are in my favor of hitting that boss, right? Because I play 3 bosses. So Toxicroak, there we go. Gets a win, earn that win too, right? So that's about that set of games is proud about as good as this deck works. Got one, my opponent conceded. Had a Mew game, I lost, but I was in the game, and then a win where the deck really performed and did its thing. So Toxicroak EX. If you have suggestions for the deck, I do like it as a deck concept. I have put a bunch of work into it. I think it's in a pretty good place, but suggestions certainly are appreciated. And if you like this type of deck, let me know. Like I said, usually I like to do, say, what I would say is a tier 2 or tier 3 deck. I think that's an interesting area. There's a lot of decks there, and they're solid decks. You can win a good amount with it. I don't think Toxicroak is up to tier 3. It's below that some, but it's still fun to play, which is why I wanted to make the video. So give it a try. If you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I would like to make this stronger. Take care.